So the latest poll that I saw that came out in terms of how Americans are viewing what's going on between Israel and Gaza, and you hear all the time, well, the left wing of the Democratic Party, the ultra lefty base of the Democratic Party, is opposed to what's going on in Israel, and they point to Bernie Sanders. So they say, that. The ultra left, the left of the Democratic Party, is opposed to what Israel is doing there. And I was always irritated by that because I'm not in the left part wing of the Democratic Party. I'm fairly conservative, in particular when it comes to things like the police and rioting in the streets and Black Lives Matter, which I consider to be anti-cop. And so many things. I don't like the welfare payments. Some are necessary. I think many of them are just people gaming the system. So I don't like the political correctness or the woke mentality or affirmative action. I just don't like those things. They're not in accordance with my value system. So maybe on many of those respects, my value skews more toward the Republican side. But I'm a Democrat, primarily for economic reasons. The way the Republicans are always slashing taxes for the wealthiest people who don't need it. As a result, they explode the national debt. I've discussed that before. And they're just doing it so wealthy people don't have to pay as much in taxes. So that's where I part ways with my Republican friends. It's a difference in approach, but basically, I'm a Democrat because I got my basic growing up philosophy from Franklin Roosevelt, who was president when I was born, and from John Kennedy, from my dad, from Harry Truman, from my mom. These are people who made a big influence on me growing up, and they weren't far lefties by any means. And my dad was a federal prosecutor, and he was a deputy attorney general for Indiana, where in that role he prosecuted a number of people. He was responsible for overseeing thousands of prosecutions. He was a big, tough law and order guy. He was also a military guy, retired as a full colonel. I worked for the Air Force with the civilian equivalent rank of a major. After my dad retired, he had the civilian equivalent rank of a brigadier general. So we're all into the military. We're into being tough on crime, prosecutions, and all of those things are not within the left wing of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And I can tell you that I have a lot of people I know who are Democrats, and almost all of them see this thing in Israel the same way. And we're not the left wing of the Democratic Party. We're just people who look at this thing and we think that what's going on there is fundamentally immoral. And so that's how we look at it. And I saw a recent poll that said that only 18% of Democrats support what's going on, which means, according to the pundits, that the other 82% of us are the left wing of the Democratic Party, which is the progressives. We're not the progressives. We're not the left wing. We're the solid middle of the Democratic Party, and we're opposed to what's going on in Israel because it's fundamentally immoral to be killing those kinds of people because, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, unquote. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. I also was gratified to see that the Democrats are apparently watching this program. They're lining up with me. And good for you. Also, I know independents are doing that. And for some reason, Republicans just don't seem to pay attention to what I have to say. I just don't get it. So, this is a short one. I haven't been with you for a while. We've had this Easter vacation and everything. And incidentally, I just got to say this one. So Joe Biden said something about Easter would happen to be the end of March. Apparently, there's been a long-standing, I wasn't even aware of it, this day is the day to see transgenders and basically recognize and acknowledge that they have a right to exist on this planet and shouldn't be stoned. No, I don't mean that they shouldn't smoke pot. That's fine. I mean that you shouldn't throw rocks at them. I have to explain everything to you people. It's so frustrating. But I do it because I'm a patient man. Kind. Almost as Christ-like as Donald Trump. Wow. Now that's holy. Yeah. Anyway, enough about Donald Trump. and even enough about me. But let's talk about how I feel about Donald Trump. No, I'm kidding. I'm done with that. There's no going to be further discussion about that or any other subject today, because I've had it. I'm taking off. Oh, here's what I was going to say real quick. Yeah, I know. Don't you hate it when I do that? You don't have to watch this. You can turn this off. So, I was watching one of my conservative friends, and he was complaining about all the people piling on this Facebook page, complaining about Biden is an insult to Christians. What's he trying to do? Make Easter a pagan holiday? And I'm like, I did one of these. Huh? Easter is a pagan holiday. It's just like Christmas, the pagan holiday. Those were holidays that people quote pagans like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. These pagans had both of these major holidays centered around the solstice. Beginning of the end of winter is Christmas, or the Yule, as it was called in ancient times before Christianity came along. And Easter was named after the goddess of fertility, whose symbol was a rabbit. Maybe if you think about certain things like something like a rabbit, you'll get why the fertility god's symbol is a rabbit. That's why we have an Easter bunny. Okay, so and the name Easter comes from, I think the name was Oeste, something like that. I'm not big on those prehistory names. Some of them were ridiculous. You want ridiculous names? Look at Irish names. But I don't want to go there now. I'm talking about my family here. Ridiculous names like Ed and Mike. But enough of my digressions. So Easter, let's get it, not a Christian holiday. It was an ancient holiday celebrating spring. And who doesn't celebrate spring? Especially if you were living thousands of years ago in England, where the winters were even worse than they are now because everything was dark. Guess what? They didn't even have electricity in those days. Talk about backward people. They didn't have phones. They didn't have cell phones. Those people had nothing. Nothing. And they barely spoke English. Have you ever tried to read Middle English? Yeah, it can't be done. I mean, Shakespeare is bad enough. But you go before Shakespeare, you can't read that stuff. So they celebrated, and the Irish, of course, were really big on that, also Halloween. Or Halloween, I think is what it's called. Which was another pagan holiday. Celebrating the dead coming back at the end of the year. All the people who were dead came back to give it to whomever they were mad. And being Irish, they had a lot of resentment about everybody. So Samhain it was. So Samhain was Halloween. Yule became Christmas, and the spring festival of, I don't know what it was called, but it was named after this goddess, a fertility goddess. All of those were ancient rituals and holidays around the weather. And so the Christians came along and they said, we got to stomp out these pagans. Let's take their biggest holidays. Let's start with Yule. And I'm petting Francois here, in case you're wondering why I'm leaning over. It's not because I'm drunk again. I'm just petting this little guy. It's little friend. Oh, he says, what? You want to go do something? You're mad at me for ignoring him? Okay, let me just finish talking to your friends here, and then we'll go for a walk. Yes, we will. Do you like that? Do you like that? Okay. Go get ready. Go put on your leash, and I'll be right there. Guy's a pest. So, see what I mean? You see what I mean? Tell he even want me to feed him. I'm not feeding you again. I fed you once. Oh, yeah. We'll play in a minute. Okay. I gotta say goodbye to your friends. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I gotta go. Bye.